What is up, my Lorcana Goons? Welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin. You're watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch. I am joined today by Zach Stone. Zach, how you doing today? This is our co-host for the Friday Weekly Market Watches.
I'm doing quite well, Kevin. You know, there's some prices that I'm very excited to talk about today. I'm also really excited to talk about some news and some events going on that we have planned. And yeah, guys, if you aren't in the Discord, we have a Discord server that you can join and get involved because we're going to add some webcam game roles. We're going to, be more interactive with the community there. So get involved in the Discord if you aren't already.
Yep. We're going to start doing a lot more in there. I do want to start this video off with a big thank you to Josh Polt, the winner of the DLC Atlanta, the first North American Lorcana challenge we had. He makes mats, actually, and if you guys watched the interview we did with him on our Quest with a Guest podcast, he said he was going to send us a mat, or maybe send me a mat, but we got it right here. It came in the mail, so huge thank you to Josh, man. If you guys want mats, he says he makes them whenever he can. They're like short print, basically. He only makes a couple whenever he can, and he has them for sale. And then when they sell out, he has to make more. But you can find them on Facebook. I'll put a link. Oh, Zach, he sent two of them. One for you, one for me. Heck yeah, dude.
Oh, nice.
Check that out, dude. Huge shout out, Joshua Polt, winner of the DLC. I'm not even mad that he beat me for the gold Mickey anymore. I'm not even mad that that he beat me for the gold Mickey. He's such a nice guy, man. Such an awesome Lorcana player too, fellow Yu-Gi-Oh duelist. Huge thank you, man. He just gave us these, so if you guys want to check him out, I'll leave a link to his Facebook down below, and maybe you can add him and reach out to him if you want to try some of these playmats. I'm gonna open this up real quick, actually.
Yeah, I really can't wait to get mine, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Sorry, Zach, you can't see it, but it's a cloth playmat. There's a red one and like a brown one, or it's like a brown and blue one. I'm opening up the red one though, just to kind of show. Ooh, oh yeah, this material's nice. You can even see like the different shades of when my finger kind of wiped off on it because it's cloth, so that's kind of nice. Oh yeah, it's a really cool mat, really nice material. I really do appreciate the gift, Josh, man. You're an awesome person, awesome Lorcana player. I will put this to the side and fold it back up nicely once the video is over. And Zach, I will give you yours as well. I think he gave us a lore counter too, which is kind of cool. So yeah, man, he's also
just the best.
Yeah, he's also a lawyer. So yeah, huge shout out, man. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. But let's get on into this market watch, Zach. I do want to talk about the meta today to start us off. We're only about 2 weeks from the Ursula's return set championships, and then after that another 2 weeks we're going to be in Fort Worth playing a Disney Lorcana challenge, trying to win golden Mickey Mouse cards, man. So what do we got today? Let's start us off with our first card.
Yeah, we got the Beast Tragic Hero right now. It is it's a card that Kevin and I have talked about multiple times in this market watch, and we've always felt that when the card is below $50, that is a steal, and that is a price to really buy if you're looking to complete any master set collections, need it for your decks, especially the ones that you're looking to play for the set champs. Just a little reminder, when you order from TCG Player, we got the golden draw at $60.99. That's going to take about 2 weeks, and at most about almost a month. So just kind of keep in mind that when you are buying these cards and you need them for tournaments, you won't be able to expect to show up within a week. Now is about a good time to place those orders in and make sure that those cards hit your doorstep in time for the set champs. If you wanted to go for more verified sellers, you can just pay $64 plus $1.29 29 cents shipping. The dungeon right there has got you covered, and there's only a handful of them that are available from verified sellers at that price. Cold foils are just going to cost you around $83. We got the Forbidden Mountain. Shout outs to you guys with $83.25 for the first verified cold foil. Again, guys, this is going to take about a week or so to get to your place. Something that somebody once shared with me not too long ago is that when they're shopping, they tend to look at where the seller is located, because sellers that are within the same states as the buyers would get there sooner than others. So keep that in mind if you are in that situation and you need the card sooner than later. Definitely look at where the seller is shipping from and try to see if it makes sense to go that route.
Nice. I do also want to mention that the Beast Cold Foil, there's only 12 listings left for this card, and last time we looked at it on the market watch, it was closer to around 70-75, and since the beginning of the format, it has just been trickling upward more and more each week. I am thinking it's gonna hit that $100 mark like it did during the peak of, like, what was that, Inklands format at one point. It was almost, it was around $100 at one point. Yeah, so I think it might be slowly getting to that point again. There's only a couple listings left, and they're already gonna hit $90, more than $90 actually, at the bottom of the page. So if you're considering foiling out your decks, not that many listings available for your Beast Tragic Heroes. Diablo, Devoted Herald, another very popular card this format. There's plenty of more listings for this card though. Not going to be nearly as scarce because obviously the Ursula's Return set just came out. Dame Games has you for $51.49 for a lowest verified. So Diablo's still a $50 legendary. This card you can pull in a non-foil, and it'll be a nicer pull than some of the enchanted rare cards you get in Ursula's Return, which is crazy. The cold foils are still not that much more expensive. Jomo Titan Gaming has you for $63.90 with $1.22 shipping, about $15 more for a foil Diablo rather than a non-foil Diablo. And yeah, if you're planning on playing Emerald, you're gonna need this card. And yeah, especially like Zach just said, if you're planning on playing your set championships, the Fort Worth Lorcana Challenge, start considering ordering your cards online right now, because like you said, it can take upwards to 2 to 3 weeks just to get to your doorstep, depending on where it's coming from. And like TCG Player, if I'm not mistaken, Zach, it won't let you like submit like a claim until the 2 weeks have actually passed, right?
To be fair, I'm not exactly sure. You can probably submit a claim. However, the TCG Player will more than likely step in if there's ever like a disgruntled buyer that wants their card a lot sooner and expects it a lot sooner than the estimated delivery date. I have had very little experiences with that. To be very honest, it's a TCG Player being the platform it is. It gives a lot of comfort knowing that sellers are protected from buyers in that sense, and buyers are protected from other sellers if the order doesn't get there, whether let alone in time or at all. There's a very, very good customer guarantee that they're going to get their money back, store credit, something compensation, and a lot of buyers are, I would say, willing to work with customers for sure. And make sure you look at the feedback too. Read what people are saying about each seller.
Yeah, feedback very important. It's like looking at Yelp reviews, you know. I mentioned in the other Market Watch video that I dislike when people put like Scotch tape on like the top loaders and stuff for cards, and they put like so much, and I end up feeling like I'm gonna damage the card from opening those. So I won't leave like the 1-star reviews, but I'll leave a 5-star review with a comment saying, hey, I didn't like this. And it's a good reference point, I think, if you're looking at some sellers. Some more cards. Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood, lowest verified is now $48 for the non-foil Robin Hood. This guy's almost $50 today. That is actually crazy. The cold foils, basically the same price. So Robin Hood keeps doing this thing where the non-foil and the cold foil prices tend to be very, very close to each other. Lowest verified is also $50, $49.29 by Card Pro Shops. Then Redline TCG has them for $49.89, right? Yeah, that's extremely close to the non-foils right here. So, and no offense to anybody, but I'm not gonna pay $48 by Suli's Abode when I can just pay $50 for a cold foil by Card Pro Shops. And I'm not gonna buy these. So if you guys are watching this video and you've been wanting your cold foil Robin Hoods, today might be a good day. Rapunzel, gifted with healing, lowest verified is now $42.25, a little bit more than $40 for your Rapunzel gifted with healings for the non-foils, and your cold foils are still sitting at $70. Nat 20 Games GG has them right there ready to go, $70 with shipping included. You can go through some non-verified sellers to find them a little bit cheaper if you like. Ursula, Deceiver of All, has still been kind of recovering from its downtrend. It's going to be sitting at around $30. Over the Horizon has you for $28.75 with $1.25 shipping. That's $30 on the dot. Cold foils are about $40. Redline TCG $39.81. It's looking like it's not going to get any lower than this. I've been kind of staring at this card because I just want to see what the lowest is possibly going to be, and I'm still very adamant about them possibly reprinting this card in its correct printing. And I'll say this every time it comes up. In real life, it's printed as a Storyborn, and online, the actual artwork is supposed to be a Dreamborn. Who knows if that's ever gonna be an issue in the actual like game of Lorcana? You know, we do have effects that trigger when you play a Floaterborn character. Maybe we'll have triggers in the future with Dreamborn and Storyborn characters, and this might actually be a relevant errata or correction. Oh, it even says right here, the card is originally printed with the incorrect classification Storyborn. So I am curious to see if we'll ever get an errata, if that will ever be fixed. You know, so that's just high hopes if you're someone who's holding cold foil Ursula Deceivers, but this is the lowest I've seen it in a minute. Sisu, Empowering Sibling, very cheap today. Very, very cheap today. Strike Zone online, $18.99 with $1 shipping, so around $20 for your non-foil Sisus, and the cold foils are only about $5 to $6 more. Lost Planet Games has you for $25.95 with $1 shipping, around $26 for your cold foil Sisu, which, Zach, I do need to apologize on the Market Watch and say you were right. This card was a meta-defining after all. I was hating on this card when it first came out. You can look at the other Market Watch videos. I was saying, no, this card is not that good, but I was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah, the Sisu is very, very strong. We saw players like Brian Cortade add the Hidden Cove into his Emerald Steel deck just to give his characters extra strength so they weren't dying to a Sisu. It's a very, very polarizing card because you kind of have to start expecting it and respecting it when they get to that much ink to play with the red-blue deck. The prices are, aren't as reflective as a deck or as a card that, is defining the meta right now. $25 for a cold foil and then just $20 for a normal. What do we say, guys? One's got to go up and one's got to go down, and cold foils usually never go down in this case. So go after your cold foils for sure. And again, this is a very, very powerful card. If you aren't running into a lot of red blue at your local meta right now, just be prepared, no pun intended, to see it at Set Champs and the Lorcana Challenge.
Yeah, I feel like you play this more than you play Mufasa, like in terms of like how many people are playing this card as opposed to a Mufasa. And Mufasa is still like $15, almost $20. I just feel like this card is much more relevant. So to see it at less than $20, I think is a steal. And if I'm gonna make, I actually need more copies of these, so I should hit up Frankincense this weekend and just try and capitalize on the prices. Because right now the prices for some of the non-foils are pretty low, whereas the cold foil pricings are still pretty high, like we were looking at last week. But we'll get into that a little bit later in the Market Watch. Next up, I do want to go over a Lucky Dime just to kind of keep track of some of these cards. I have been seeing a lot of movement in the last couple weeks. Lowest verified today is no longer in that $15 range. We have $14.40 with $2 shipping. So you're gonna have to pay around $16 now for your non-foil Lucky Dimes. These have just been trending upward and upward along with all the other Sapphire cards. And check this out, this is kind of experiencing somewhat of a small buyout. There's only 11 listings left. Somebody just bought a cold foil for $24. Lowest verified is $17.75 plus $5 shipping. After that, Redline TCG has you for $24.44. You're gonna have to pay $25 for your cold foil Lucky Dimes. Zach, do you remember the other Market Watch videos like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about how the Lucky Dimes were $15 for cold foils and $12 for non-foils? Look at it now, doubled in price, my guy. Lucky Dime, what do you think about it?
Lucky Dime is a very, very powerful card. You and I have seen people's initial reaction to this card first being announced, and everyone thought it was bad. Everyone thought it was kind of unplayable, even just not being a card you see yourself playing on turn 7, and it's uninkable. But we're finding out that cards like this actually help set up the Sapphire strategy, because you're gaining a bunch of extra ink to play for your following turns, and you're going to be able to play this card a lot earlier than you think, and you're getting immediate value with your characters like Tamatoa and Aerial Treasure Collector, that can potentially have a bunch of lore stats just on the card. And this is almost comparable to like attacking directly. You're being able to gain lore the turn you play a character instead of questing with it, which is pretty good in this game. We see Merlin Goat, do that all the time. So, I remember seeing this card first come out. It was like $3, and I was like, "There's no way this card's $3. I'll pay whatever they're." At the time I was buying in cards, they usually just pay at a percentage of what they're worth just to make margins. but I was willing to even just buy these cards what they were worth because I knew that it was not going to remain a $3 card for the long term for sure. So yeah, get your cold foils if you've been looking to. $25 for a legendary that is seen at least 2 copies of play in every Sapphire deck.
Yeah, I mean, $25 might be a little. It makes sense. It makes sense. There'll probably be more listings after this video goes up, so just food for thought. I usually like to wait after the bull rush before I start buying some of the cold foils. But also, Spirit of Winter, these cold foils have been are relatively cheap now. They used to be like $40, $50. Today, lowest verified is going to be bent cardboard, $33 with $1.50 shipping. And if you want non-foils for your collection, they're around $9 now. Random encounter games, $8.91 with shipping included. Yeah, shipping included, not mistaken. Yen Sid has been going up in price just a little bit. I've been seeing a lot of sales movement for Yen Sid. I think people started realizing that you can actually play this in Ruby Amethyst with your broom package. You're already playing 4 brooms, so you can add this to your Ruby Amethyst deck and draw an extra card. I'm playing at least 1. I like the card. I don't think it's bad at all, and being able to quest for 3 sometimes, not bad. Corbin Card Games has you for $12.49 for the lowest non-foil verified. And then the thing about the Yen Sid is that the cold foils are basically the same price, around $12.75 with $1.22 shipping. They're pretty much the same price because you also get this in a promo foil, so it's not hard to find, right? Tamatoa, so shiny, starting off our supers today. Mystic TCG has you for $9.77. This is now a $10 non-foil super. That's really cool. Tamatoa is at the same heights as like Tinkerbell now, and like Whole New World, which I think is very deserving. This card's great. It's just it didn't fit in the format until just last format. Rise of the Floodborn didn't let I think Sapphire shine as much as we wanted it to. But man, yeah, now when Inklands and Ursula's return, Tamatoa is just like a huge threat to the meta. Like the same way you have to respect Sisu, the same way you have to respect cards like Diablo, you have to have outs to Tamatoa in your deck. Lowest verified is going to be 1940 for a foil Tamatoa or a shiny Tamatoa, pun intended. Lompak Collectibles has you for 1940. 95 has you for 21.99 after that, and then Cat's Meow has you for 24.21 after that. So we did see last week there was somewhat of like an interesting sellout happening for Tamatoa, and some were selling for as high as $25 to $30. That has kind of slowed down a little bit over this course of the weekdays, but the pricing is still jumping around from 20 to 25 in just a couple listings, right? So Tamatoa is still pretty expensive for the cold foils. Whole New Worlds have been going up in price again. They're now $12. Cat's Meow, lowest verified for the non-foil, is going to be $12 today. And if you want a cold foil Whole New World, they're going to be around $20 again. GG Layton has you for $18 with $2 shipping. Whole New World, never going out of style, still very powerful. Flynn Rider, Frenemy, has been cooling off a little bit in price, but it's still a $5 super rare that you can pull from Ursula's Return, which is really nice if you're cracking some of the new boxes. And these cold foils are going to be close to $10. Lowest verified is going to be Duckman TCG. Love that name. $8.74 with $1 shipping. Almost $10 for your foil Flynn Rider Frenemies. And speaking of cool supers, Cogsworth has just been trending, bumping up in price, getting so many sales this week. Check out this chart. He's just been moving. Used to be around $1 or $2 to get Cogsworths. Now lowest verified is going to be $5.20 by Hidden Block Games. Almost $6. That's shipping included, by the way. There's only 13 listings left for the cold foils. Brute Force Games, $10.99 with $1.50 shipping. Almost $12 for your cold foil Cogsworths. There are some unverified sellers if you want to get a little bit of a discount, but there's not that many listings for these. Dream Guardian, this guy only has 32 sales. He has 4 of them for you. These are really cheap. $6.78 with $1 shipping, like around $7. If I was a meaner dude, I would buy them right now, but I'll let the Market Watch viewers take a crack at that one if it's still up when this video airs. Zach, tell me about Cogsworth and Sapphire cards. What's with Sapphire cards? Why are Sapphire cards just jumping up in price?
I've heard somebody come up to me and say Sapphire looking like the flavor of the week right now, and it might just be. Keep in mind that the online platform Pixelborn not recently was taken off of public use and no longer supports the Lorcana TCG. However, during that last day, I remember Sapphire Steel just kind of being all over the being played constantly. I would say it was all over the rated pool, and everyone was just trying out Sapphire. And I like to think that that was where a lot of people said, I'm just going to play Sapphire. It seems like the most consistent, and it's just because you're playing more games with it and getting more wins with it. Taking decks to, in-person play is a really good, you know, I would say check to that. Make sure you get a little bit of both online play, in-person play, because you need to be able to feel how the deck plays in person, even with the actual cards in hand and against other people's decks. And keep in mind that a lot of people are going to be trying out different things. And I'm curious to see where the market trends go because, yeah, Pixelborn did impact the market a lot. You can buy your cold foil Cogsworth for just about $12. Like Kevin mentioned, there's one right there that's pretty cheap. Do us a favor, Kevin. Add that to your cart. Is that even an actual listing that works?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, there you go. It's always good to make sure that it's always good to make sure that these are cards you're actually able to buy and not something that somebody just has listed and it's a frozen account.
Right.
And yeah, normals are what $6 if after that first initial listing.
Yeah. After this listing, it starts hitting $6. It's kind of interesting. Sapphire. I think about Sapphire too, though, as a color is you can play it in two different pairs: Sapphire Ruby and Sapphire Steel. Emerald is great. A lot of people are really, I think, hyper focused on Emerald Steel being the best Emerald pair, but I think Emerald Amethyst is just as good, if not more threatening in today's meta. With the amount of Sapphire running around. So I'm surprised Emerald cards aren't more expensive. Because with Sapphire, like so many people, like you said, flavor of the week, man, people are shifting to Sapphire Steel because you have outs to Bucky. That Emerald Steel matchup is so much easier if you're playing Sapphire Steel, and if you're playing like Sapphire Ruby, maybe you might be switching to that strategy instead. Either way, I think Sapphire Ruby is still a great deck, an amazing color combination. So like and you're not playing Cogsworth in that deck, but still you're using Sapphire cards. You're taking up more of the of the scarcity, or you're taking up more of the amount of cards that are available for people in the card pool because you're playing you're running your Sapphire decks, and you can play two different kinds. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the Sapphire cards have been shooting up in price. There is a demand. Madame Medusa still a $5 non-foil super now. We have lowest verified Bev's Den 485 with $1.22 shipping. This is cool to see. This card used to be like $1. It's crazy. So if you're new to Lorcana, yeah, a lot of these supers up until literally the start of the Disney Lorcana challenges, these big events, a lot of these staples and super rares, they were like $1, $2, less than $1, huh, Zach?
Yeah, I like to quote this. Madame Medusa once had 83 cents plus whatever shipping cost it was.
Yes.
And there was multiple copies around that price. So just always think about these cards that are, potentially viable. There's more cards than just like Madame Medusa that have had the same effect. Just recently, Flynn Rider Frenemy was what, $1 or $2, and then shot up to $7 or $8 in the first week or so. Just keep in mind, guys, that like people like to start testing other stuff and trying new things when the format gets quote unquote stale. And these cards that are just 50 cents, dollars could potentially be investments because they could have only the chance to go up. They've already hit their low.
Yeah, and it makes me feel so good because I remember buying a gang of Madame Medusas when Into the Inklands kind of launched, and then being disappointed because, like you said, they were only being listed for like 50 cents, 83 cents with $1 shipping. And now it's just, I feel so validated, But again, more people are playing Lorcana, and honestly, there was a comment on the last video saying like the death of Pixelborn will not impact Lorcana market space negatively, and I 100% agree. As much as I was a little worried, like, oh, less people are gonna play the game, so the game's gonna slow down in terms of like people's like overall interest and just mass marketing, right? That internet marketing is gone. However, people are definitely gonna be buying more cards because now if they want to playtest, they have to literally own the cards. Like, yeah, you can make proxies, you can play online, you can play with your homies. But at the end of the day, like, if you want to play this game and you really want to practice for the DLCs, you're going to have to buy the cards and practice with them. You can't just, like a pseudo test or proxy, like, up until the challenge. Like, so I do think there's going to be a lot more people buying cards, people building more than one deck now, because if you want to practice different decks, you can't just rely on something like Pixelborn. Yeah, you can use Tabletop Simulator, you can use some other means to practice decks, but I think at the end of the day, if you want that full experience, that full practice, you're really gonna have to own the Lorcana cards now. So I am not surprised why some of these cards are shooting up in price. But real quick, Madame Medusa foils 12, $4.99 Izzy Comics. These did come down a lot. They were selling for like 20 bucks. So now might be a good time to pick them up if you've been looking at them. Flavor Sham. Flavor Shams are going to be $5 now. Mindless Mentor, they have 7 of them for you, so you can go through one seller to avoid extra shipping fees. $4.36 with $1.22 shipping. This is a $5 rare from the starter decks. People, this comes out in the starter deck and it's $5 now. I love this game. It's such a real game now. Noob Cards has you for $19 for a cold foil Flavor Sham. $20 cold foil, not bad for your Sapphire staples. We have Sisu Emboldened Warrior selling for around $5 as well today. One card stop. $4.03 with $1.22 shipping for your Sisu from Ursula's Return. And the cold foils for the Sisu are going to be $8.48 with $1 shipping. Big Sky Collectibles. Shout out you guys. Almost $10 for your cold foil Sisu Emboldened Warrior. This is the ideal shift target for your shift Sisu that you want to play later on. Fishbone Quill. An awesome card. I've been gassing up this card. I've got gasses up every format because it always does this thing where at the beginning of the format, this card's super cheap because nobody knows how to play Sapphire, and then as the format progresses, everyone realizes actually Sapphire's kind of good, huh? And then it shoots back up to a $10 card. It's happened since the first chapter. It's happened it's literally happened since the first chapter. But it's about a $10 card now. Lowest verified Royal Gaming and Cole $10.74. Wow. Almost $11 for your non-foil Fishbone Quills now. And the cold foils, yep, $20. Cat the Cat MTG has you for $18 with $1.22 shipping. Royal Gaming and Cole has you for $19.44 with $1 shipping. So $20 for your Fishbone Quills foil. Maui, Hero to All, very popular card. This format going back up in price, no longer in that $10 range, going to be almost $15 now. For the Win Games has you for $12.97 with $1.22 shipping. And if you want cold foils, they're going to be a lot closer to $20 now. $17.50 by Win Condition Games, lowest verified. It's crazy to see how Maui, like, again, in the beginning of the format, a lot of people just getting rid of a lot of their cards, maybe not super confident in what to play, and a lot of these cards came down in price, and now that we're like in an established format, they're starting to shoot back up to $20. Don't you think, Zach?
Yeah, the cards. This Maui is definitely a strong card that we all saw in the first chapter, and kind of all identified as a good card. And that's more of my take nowadays. Is I try to identify good cards, whether they see play or not. I just try to make sure that I have the copies that I want ready to play with whenever I decide to play. And I like to play with cold foils. Even just in my business sense for inventory purposes, I'm not necessarily always buying cards that are so cheap, just trying to buy them out. That's not how I'd like to invest in my inventory. I'd rather just buy the cards that I know that can move, and the ones that come my way, of course. But the prices that I'm looking at here at $17 is a very, very good price in the cold foil. This one has hit almost close to $30 before for cold foils. Normals have hit almost this price before too, and they're not that far off. It almost makes sense to just buy your cold foils if you're spending only $5 more, and you're already paying at least $12 for a normal one. I don't see this card actually ever becoming bad in the game too.
And in terms of identifying good cards, cards that aren't necessarily played, but cards that we believe are good. That's the thing too, is that we don't just collect and sell the cards. We play the game. You know what I mean? I think that does give a little bit of an advantage in certain things, and that's one of the reasons why I said I bought a bunch of Mana Medusas when that card came out, because I read the card and I thought this card is insanely good. Why is it 50 cents? Now it's $5, and I think a lot of it is we play the game, identifying what cards do, identifying when cards are overstated. There's a bunch of cards coming on the new set, right? And a lot of it's hype, and some people still do pre-orders, and half the time I read these cards and I'm like, this card is buns. This card does nothing, and then some people overhype a certain card. I think that's a skill that comes with playing the game competitively. It's a little hard to identify that, but a card like Maui, for example, is a very good reference point, because for example, he's an Inkable 5-cost character. Inkable cards are just good, and then 6 strength, 5 willpower. He's overstated. There's no other 5-cost card in the game that has this type of stat line. Yeah, he has the stipulation of Reckless, which is supposed to be a negative thing, but then they also gave him Rush, which just it's like PEMDAS. It cancels out any negative stuff that Reckless did for it. You know what I mean? So this is such an overstated card, and seeing, and every format This is never gonna go out of style. So cards like this, especially, I buy the cold foils, never get rid of them. I buy extras when they're low, get rid of those. But speaking of some other nice cards that are very popular, Chernobog's Followers seems impossible to find lately. I've been hearing it from other people too. I heard it from Zach over the weekend. I've heard it from people in our Discord that they just can't find non-foil Chernobog Followers. The cold foils today are $3.60 with $1.22 shipping. This is now a $5 uncommon cold foil, by the way, and you can find them online for cheap as heck. They're only 50 cents, around $1 actually, with $1.22 shipping. So almost $2 for your Chernobog Followers, which is nice to see. Very popular uncommon. Some other very important uncommons: Ursula Deceiver from Into the Inklands. They're now more than $5 as well. Nomad TCG LLC has you for $5.75, and the non-foils, same thing, about $1, about 50 cents with $1.22 shipping. One jump ahead, we saw this trending a couple weeks ago. It has been coming down in price, no longer selling for $20 for the cold foil uncommon, but Sky, that one guy, has you for $9, and then Skynet right after that has you for $9.75, and they have 5 of them. Sachez's has 21 of them ready for you if you want to pick up your one jump aheads, and they're going to sell for around $10 for the cold foils. And there's also some really good cold foil commons like Popsicle. Zach, how much were Popsicle selling for our Franks this weekend? Because lowest verified right now is by Lorcana Prime, $4.69 for a cold foil Popsicle with $1.22 shipping, but they start jumping up real quick. We already have 3 listings in, $4.10 with $2 shipping, $6.90 shipping included, almost $7.
Yeah, I like to explain it like this. There are people I know that would pay $5 on that. There are people I know that would pay $6. Those people that would pay 6 wouldn't pay 7, but I know people that would pay 7, and I also know people that would pay 8. There are a lot of people that are willing to spend the money on these cards, especially the cold foil ones. And when I see listings kind of jump in price from each one and they're not consistently the same, I'd like to always think that the card is worth more than just what people have listed. You never know what people pay on these cards or how people acquire them. A lot of people that have stores, they take care of other games, and mainly Lorcana is more of a new game that a lot of stores didn't take on or even take approach. But every once in a while they'll have cards, or they'll be sold cards, and they won't know what to do with them, so they list them, and they have no incentive to try to sell them for the most. They're just trying to move them ASAP and get that margin because they got it for practically nothing. Not everyone has that luxury, of course, and don't get me wrong, if any of these Popsicles came by, if I had to pay on them, I'd pay about close to $4, knowing that I could at least sell it for $5 if I had to, but at most sell it for about $7 to $8, and that seems like a good enough margin for me.
Nice. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it too when I see a bunch of different listing prices. Some other cool common foils you want to keep a lookout for. Friends on the other side. These are going to be around $5 to $6 for the cold foils. Lowest verified is Traveling Merchant, $1.10 with $5 shipping, so that's about $6. And a couple other non-verified listings, but they're all very close to $6 as well for a cold foil. Friends on the other side. I want to bring up Sudden Chill because I feel like Sudden Chill is also a common that very well is deserving of some of these price points, especially with the popularity of Emerald. And as of right now, they're really cheap. The cold foils are only $1.75 with $1.22 shipping by Woodburg Collectibles. So it's about $2 to $3 for this cold foil compared to something like Popsicle, which is almost $7 to $8, right? So I just get the feeling that this is on its way to reach those prices as well. How far I'll go is an interesting promo I want to bring up. I've been seeing people look for this card a lot more. It's a very popular card in Sapphire, and it's cool. It's a cool promo, if you want to play a playset of these instead of the regular cold foils. Lowest verified is by Crazy Deals today, $2.99 with $1.22 shipping, almost $4 to $5 for your promo. How far out goes. And speaking of cards that we've been talking about, I want to talk about some new cards coming out in Shimmering Skies. This is the new set coming in a month or two. Yeah, it's gonna come in August 9th. That's gonna be the release date. So we just want to mention not to buy the pre-orders because there is a pre-order sale for this Elsa. This is a new Elsa. It's a 5 ink inkable, 2 strength, 5 willpower. This character has rush and evasive. and an ability that says when you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. So this isn't out to Diablo. Is it going to be $20? Probably not. So I don't think it's you should be buying these pre-orders, but these are some cool new cards coming out in the next set. You're welcome. An awesome song from Moana. It's going to be available in Shimmering Skies. This is a 4-cost song. Shuffle chosen character, item, or location into their player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. Very awesome, very awesome. Is it going to be $6? Is it going to be $3 for the uncommon non-foil awesome? Maybe not. Maybe not that expensive. So maybe don't buy the pre-orders and wait a little bit before you pick some of those up. But if you do want to pre-order the booster box, you can do so on TCG Player or maybe through your local game store as well. I highly recommend reaching out to your local game store. Instead, though, doing in-person pre-orders is just much nicer because you still have to wait. You still have to wait weeks for the item to get to your house, and they're not letting sellers ship these out until August 23rd, which is the big box retail release date. So you won't even be able to get this until way later. And if you actually go to your local game store, you'll be able to participate in the early release, which is interesting. But $150 for this booster box. Some of the other booster boxes Into the Inklands are going to be $100. So just take that into consideration. The prices do definitely go down when the box actually releases. And speaking of booster boxes, first chapters are still pretty hyped right now. Lowest verified is going to be $239. Purple Shadow Gaming, $240 for your first chapter booster boxes sealed. Zach, are you holding on to any first chapter? Even these blister packs are kind of expensive, man. $10.69 lowest verified for just one blister pack of the first chapter.
So I had a box, but I sold it to a relative, and they were pretty happy because I gave it to them for $200. It was the one that I won when I won the set championships back in April. So I wasn't looking to really hang on to it. I kind of just had it, and I thought about selling it at Frank's, but I realized I kind of didn't want to sell one box. It felt kind of weird. So I kept it and held on to it. And a relative reached out and said they were looking to buy one as a gift, and I said, $200 and it's yours. And they bought it.
Nice, good guy Zach, giving out the discounts to the relatives. That's a fair price, especially MSRP being $150. The resale value constantly going up, and that again, we still don't know if there's going to be any more restocks, reprints. We actually picked up a case of Rise of the Floodborn, right? Do you know if that was a recent restock?
So I don't know if it was restocked or not. I don't have the information on the specific case that we acquired. It was just someone who had it available. It was a good enough price to buy it. And Kevin and I have been looking to, buy some product to have as more prizing for the tournaments we host. So if you guys are in the Long Beach area, definitely, look at a store called Pele Cards and Games. We got an Enchanted Zeus tournament going on actually tomorrow. It'll be the first place prize. And if you end up as a defeated player in the early rounds, definitely stay interested in playing the next round or two, because we do raffles for any defeated players. Very, very generous of Kevin to always include that in the tournaments.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you. We do try and hook up the players that pull up. But yeah, this Saturday, tomorrow, Enchanted Zeus tournament. Speaking of Enchanteds, do want to go over Elsa because we have some sales of movement this week. Yesterday, an Elsa near mint sold for $954, and another one also sold for $929. So the Elsas, and another one, look at this, on the 17th, $880. So the Elsas, the raw Elsa Enchanteds have been selling for less than $1,000 this week. They're just dipping. So, take that into consideration, guys. If you guys have been looking to pick up your Elsas, they're coming down even lower in price. Now might be the time to scoop those up when they're less than 4 digits. And Maui is an interesting enchanted. I just love Maui. I think this card's so good. It's been keeping a solid price at 180 when a lot of other enchanteds have been falling. And I think that just says something about this card's playability, about the interest of this card, and I get the feeling it's not going to be less than $200 for that much longer, to be honest. And then I want to talk about the most inexpensive enchanted that we have in all of Lorcana. The Wall Border Fortress is going to be as low as $46.02. Pokédex TCG lowest verified. This card's cheaper than Diablo, which is a non-foil legendary. So I don't know. I don't think the card's good or anything, but if you're a collector, this enchanted is insanely cheap. The fact that it's so cheap, it just makes me want to buy it for no reason, right? But I do want to go over some prize card news because, like we did mention, we have Fort Worth coming up in a little less than a month. The Dragonfire promos are going to be selling for around $80 to $85. Lowest verified is Skynet. This promo is the promo you receive for participation in a Disney Lorcana challenge. So just for showing up, you get a $80 promo card. They have been coming down though. They were selling for $200, $150, $100, and now they're as low as $85. So they might even still keep coming down post the challenges. But I do want to go over some more prize card information because we had some recent sales happen. A PSA 10 foil Rapunzel. This is the Rapunzel that you get for topping the event. You have to end up in top 16 or top 8. So I have one, by the way. So a PSA 10 sold for $8,100 on June 19th. There was only 2 bids though. Only 2 bids. Very interesting to see only 2 bids, but a PSA 10 foil Rapunzel, $8,000. That's kind of nice in my opinion. So if you did win one of these, maybe you want to get it graded so you can capitalize on that, because we have a raw that sold for $4,550. That's almost double the price for a PSA 10. From raw to PSA 10, almost double the price, 45 to 8,000. That's a huge difference. This one had 35 bids, so more than $4,000 for a raw top 16 foil Rapunzel, which is still really nice in my opinion. And I'm very relieved to see this because I did not know what to sell my card for. You know what I mean? And now I actually have a floor. Now I have an actual understanding, and now we actually understand what we're playing for at these Disney Lorcana challenges, right, Zach?
Yeah, these prizes, you and I both knew going in that these prizes were going to be really expensive. The Mickey, being in its own kind of category compared to the other pricing that you can earn. The Rapunzel, initially we all thought it was going to be like 15 grand, and I was very skeptical on it.
We were hoping. We were hoping
to share that opinion. Hoping after I knew you won one for sure.
No, yeah, I think I was pretty open up in my videos too about how I felt about asking for that price. It didn't feel right. And then obviously, and when I ever did make posts about it, the first thing I said was obviously open to negotiating, because I don't expect someone to drop 5 digits on this card that just came out when there's going to be more and more, right? A Cinderella update, by the way, if you win a Cinderella for top 32 or top 64, depending on the amount of players, you can sell it for $3,000. Look at this recent sale on June 18th, $3,250, 33 bids. I'd love to see that one. If you guys go to a Lorcana challenge event, you don't play the main event, you can also farm the tickets for this side event right here. The side events are gonna net you some cool prizes like the non-foil enchanted rares that sell for $150, or the Cinderella prize mat that sells for $800 to $1,000 right here. We have a best offer accepted for $800 for this foil Cinderella stout-hearted mat, and a couple other recent sales for that mat selling for more than $1,000, $1,050 and $1,125, which is cool to see. And if you just want to check out some of the other stuff from the Disney Lorcana challenge, the Let It Go promo that you get for top 64/128 is selling for around $1,000 still, which is very nice to see. I personally like that because you cannot get this in a non-foil, so around $1,000 if you end up in the top cut. And after that, I just want to go over some crazy high baller news. A set of D23 promo cards. This is like the 2022 promo cards. The set of 6 sold for $9,000 on June 18th, ungraded, by the way. So if you don't know what the D23 promos are, it's these basically. This is the initial, this is like the promo kit that was released at D23 in 2022, and this was like the surprise initial announcement of Lorcana. Nobody knew what Lorcana was. Ravensburger just showed up and was like, hey guys, take these, and now they sell for almost $10,000 for the ungraded raw. And we have an auction going on. It ends in 5 days, 11 bids, already almost at $5,000 for this set. I think these are the best cards because this is like the origin story of Lorcana. This is like my favorite thing, and they're all foil, by the way. If you guys don't know what this is, do your own research, look up. I need to make a whole video actually on the lore of D23, I think, right? That would be good, right, Zach?
You know, if you took your time and kind of got some insight from people that were at the D23 Expo when these were given out, I know that we've talked to Lorcana Stan, and we have his story that I'd probably like to be able to talk about too.
Yep, we have me,
It's one of those things.
me, Lee,
Personal
her too.
regrets.
She gave me a big story about, yeah, about how people were just literally like not showing up to the Ravensburger booth on the Friday of D23. It's almost like they were begging people to buy these from them, and because they were, yeah, man, it's so crazy to hear that people were literally just uninterested in this in the first day it was announced, right? But apparently throughout the weekend they did start getting sold and scalped by trading card game players. Some more high baller high roller auctions going on. The Rapunzel mat, there's an auction going on, ends in 9 days. There's 8 bids going on so far, and the Rapunzel foil, there's another auction going on here, 35 bids so far. It's a lovely card, guys. It's a beautiful card. I think it's wonderful. Selling, it's an auction right now. It's a 1,525 with 35 bids, and it ends in 2 days. So we'll see where that one ends up, right? So yeah, a lot of stuff happening in Lorcana space. I love it. I'm very excited to play the next Lorcana challenge. I want to win a golden Mickey. I want to try and win first place. Zach, are you excited for Fort Worth? Any final words before we call it a day?
Guys, yeah, I'm very excited. If you guys are actually at that challenge event, please come up and say hi to Kevin and I. We know it's gonna be hot in Texas in July, so don't be afraid to give us a hug. We'll stay cool, stay under a rug. And as always, guys, stay tuned to Lorcana Goons.
All right, we'll see you goons next time.